making that up.
One of the common threads that you hear from underprivileged people is transportation. So they come here. So how do we get them to their medical appointments, to their jobs? Where's the concentration there? Montrose Turnpike is just another step away from these services.
All right. So we're good with public comment?
How's everybody liking those new lights you got going on?
Oh, those are nice.
If we could get some on Southside
That
Drive.
would be
it'd be
nice.
Yeah, we
That's
definitely
right.
need one on Southside.
One in front of my house hasn't worked in 20 years.
You know, I have any.
But the other ones are nice.
Yeah, but they're cool.
They won't turn it on.
Yeah, they're neat.
No, it's-
They say it's nice out.
No, nice things have their problems.
Yeah, no, they
Then
got,
nice will
they got
say
a
it's
problem.
another village.
We'll talk about that later.
But they are big and great.
Just by the fire station. We're just up by the fire station. That's all
So,
we are.
I will say, I brought the lights up for the $10 million, for the record.
Was that part of this meeting, by the way?
No.
I had more to say.
I'll get to that.
Okay.
Okay, so, first order of business, I would like to make a motion, it's not on the agenda, but to appoint Ron Pelton as our vacant second board trustee. So, I have a second.
I'll second it. I don't know that we need to, but, I mean,
I think we have to, the village charter.
Yeah, the village, New York State village law makes it the mayor's appointment, but the charter changes that a little bit.
Okay.
Right, to make it make
I'll
sense.
second it.
So we have a vote?
Yes.
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 Yes. So, he's right there around.
Come on, you want to join me?
Yes,
Sure.
sir.
I'm going to swear you in real quick.
Swear you in.
Come here. I'm going to swear you in.
Swears too much.
Yeah.
She said,
Sorry, I totally forgot. The copies went up 6 pages.
I think it's a third. I'll ask
Ron, it's still in, just sit down right here. Get your name up there.
Couldn't work right away. Right away. That's how we roll.
I have one more, appointment for planning. We have to see. Kind of sprung it on.
Ordinarily, I would say.
Fran,
Well,
are you third ward? So these people, you're these people's trustee, right?
so we'll move on.
South side?
No, it's first.
First,
South side.
First.
First?
order of business is approved.
Ed, Moore.
Crop walk for Sunday, October 14th, 2000.
We're here to represent
Okay,
that.
Erica will be.
Requested that we attend math for the route. Actually, there's two, a short walk and a long walk, longer. The crosswalk started here in the village for Geauga County in 1980. We've had walks ever since. It's walk to support the church, by church world service in there. So they support 6 of the community food pantries and also the Advent dinner. We wouldn't have much this
So I guess, did they put in a permit, John, or how does that work?
It's actually on the sidewalks, right?
Correct.
Okay.
So they're not blocking traffic.
No, we'll try, but.
Does this require police or fire department or fire police?
We have had a couple officers volunteer in the past.
But we don't need a street closing permit.
No. So we start at the Owego Methodist Church in their driveway,
Okay.
and then we go across there to the sidewalk, over on the sidewalk on the south side, is that? And,
We don't normally issue it. It would be a parade for that, yeah.
Right. Because they're not gonna close any streets.
So do we need a motion to approve?
Yes, that's part of it.
I'll make a motion.
Okay.
I'll second that.
Okay, so vote.
Yes.
Ron? Yes.
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 And yes.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
Thank you.
We learned something about what's happening in the community.
Yeah.
How many people? That's one.
Well, I
Actually,
think
what?
it varies, but we're hoping for a few more, so we've had like 60, 75, we're hoping for 100, 125. But we have signs that we hold and balloons, and so it attracts.
Yeah, go, Jeff.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Excellent. You guys willing to walk with us? Is that what you
Yeah.
want to?
We want you to donate too. Shall we pass the hat tonight? Here's a pretty red one.
I'll tell you how much that costs.
Okay, Rachel.
If doctors along the way.
Absolutely.
I might excuse myself until October 1st. Thank you guys for your time and patience.
Thank you.
Thank you.
See you tomorrow. Next,
I'll be there.
our next item is a motion to reschedule the public hearing on 62 to 64 Central Ave rezone, which this is Applied Technologies.
More like
Yeah.
3 or 4.
Yeah, four places there. But we screwed up the date in the paper that was supposed to be tonight, public hearing.
They put 2019.
Right.
I'll make the motion.
So we just need to set that for October 1st,
Second motion.
and he requested to go first that night.
I don't know. They've already been to the paper.
Okay.
The other 7, I know he wants to go first.
Maybe we'll make him,
Yes.
7:30 or something.
Yeah, if the public hearing notices for October 1st have already been sent to the paper, I mean, we're still more than 10 days out. You could refile amended notices, and you need to vote to reschedule all the hearings in a different order. The issue is that if, the issue isn't so much as those two, or whatever the other public hearings are. We hold this hearing kind of out of order, and somebody might show up at the wrong time when they're supposed to attend for another one of the hearings.
What do we do, 7, 7:10,
I put down 7.
7:20?
Mr. Mayor, Rusty?
I would expect the public hearing for some of the other things is going to take a lot longer than that.
Right.
But you want to have people here, so that they can sit through it.
So
you know?
Mr. Lonsberry is worried about Long Lake, he's probably going to go very quickly.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stuff on
Can't fix it.
That is a busy night. So, October 1st, what time do we think?
I always put like 20 minutes after the first, so I mean, it could be later.
20?
Yeah, but it's already, I already sent it to the paper.
Okay.
I mean,
Okay.
it is what it is.
So do we have a second on that?
I think.
Yes. And a vote?
Yes.
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 And yes. Okay, so that will be Next meeting, October 1st at 7:20, with a rezoning to industrial.
I will call him tomorrow, tell him why he's.
Yes, explain to him why he's saying.
He told me earlier on that he wanted to second, it was like, sort of too late.
Only because we have the other one already skipped.
Yeah.
Okay, so the next item is hose team plaque request requirements fountain. So what they're looking at, we were here last meeting, but they're looking at getting a historic plaque for the fireman's fountain, if they get a grant. Oh, there's multiple copies there. So they would like to install this historic plaque on our land, so they need permission from us. So I guess I'm looking for approval to give them permission.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Okay.
Does anybody know what the plaque's gonna say?
So the fountain, assuming it's a historic fountain, we have, I'm assuming we want to probably ask the historic advisory committee at this point whether to put the plaque up. And I'm sure if it's designated as a historic parcel, I don't know if SHPO needs to be involved or consulted at all for doing this.
Okay, so there's a program.
To get money to get the
This
plaque.
would kick off that program.
Right.
So we're not approving anything,
You're expressing support
If
of
they
the
get the
application for
plaque,
a grant.
to go
if they
forward.
get the plaque, then we would be supportive of them installing it on our land.
It looks like all the other historic
Yeah.
ones.
Yeah, I mean, I guess without seeing the application, I mean, typically they look for a resolution of support, but it's not authorization yet to
Right.
actually put something in place.
Yeah, they're just looking for a letter.
So I mean, I think there are questions about, this shouldn't just be simple approval of a plaque on the
Right.
file.
Danny, know anything about this?
I'm not part of the host team. Don't know anything about it.
I'm assuming it's blue and yellow New York State.
Not affiliated with the fire department, they're their own corporation. Hey, it's the truth, Jeff, and we go host team is not part of the fire department.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'd be curious what the link information tells us about the historic marker program. I'd be curious to know what they're going to actually put on the marker. I'd like to know if our historic advisory committee needs to weigh in on it, or we can just say, sure, go ahead and put a plaque on it.
Right.
I mean, I think at this point, our recommendation would be to not take any action, to go back and look at those questions, and maybe at the next meeting, you'd be in a position to at least take an action or refer it to the historic committee for opinion.
Yeah, it was bad. See what's going on.
Yeah, so there's a motion and a second, so I can withdraw it.
Okay.
Or we can table it.
Yeah, we'll table it. We'll find out more about what exactly they want to put on the plaque.
Get some quote for next meeting.
And then, the next item, purchase of police car, that was Chief Kennedy's, but he asked me to table it, he's not here. Don't know what that was about. Next item, motion to approve window application, which is, Nadine's back there. I printed out draft minutes for everybody. So we had our first meeting of the OHPAC, which is the advisory committee, and they did look at one application, some windows.
Great.
You want to talk about it?
Yeah, I can just, I'll make this real quick and sweet. We recommend to the Board of Trustees, we approved the certificate of appropriateness to to be issued for a 3234 Lake Street application. Replacement of 2 windows at the rear 3rd floor elevation of 3234 Lake Street with either double hung or 9 divided light aluminum clad windows fitting into the same current window placement, with painting of the window trim to match facade color scheme. Pursuant to the State Environmental Quality Review seeker, it has been determined by the OHVAC that the proposal constitutes a type 2 action as defined under 6, the law, NYCRR 617.5C. 1. If repairs are needed during this project, like material shall be used to replace any existing damaged materials and complement the existing architectural design. These windows are at the rear of the building. So if you're standing in the wonderful historic parking lot of the what is it, the car supply, the place there. Yeah, AutoZone. So we're standing there. We can look at these 2 windows, these 2 little windows. So we recommend that you approve this, and then they can move forward with the project.
I'll make the motion based on the language that was passed out of the
The certificate of appropriateness. The certificate of appropriateness will have that language in it.
Rodney has that language, so.
I second that.
Second, and a vote?
Yes.
Can I just take a quick vote?
Yes. Hold on, don't we have
Not voting.
No, I just wanted to, I thought it was what you read in the secret language in it was mine. I just wanted to make sure that was the actual paragraph that they're.
Okay, good. I wasn't sure if you had got it in your packets yet, so that's why I was reading it.
You're gonna be yes, yeah.
And yes. Okay, the next
Mr.
item.
Mayor, I can make, sometime later, I can make a report to the board about our first meeting,
Okay.
whenever you want.
Okay, you can do it now if you want.
I'll make it brief.
Okay.
Okay.
That'd be good.
We had our first, the WEGO Historic Preservation Advisory Committee. I'm Nadine Bixby, I'm the chair of the committee. We held our first meeting on Wednesday, September 12th, at 7 o'clock, 30 Elm Street. All members were in attendance, so we had a quorum. Chris Knickerbocker was appointed temporary recording secretary. She's really excellent. We talked with the mayor. There was a long discussion at one of our meetings about the village hiring a secretary for the various committees that meet, because we all need a really good recording secretary for all the, especially these legal documents, to make sure they're done right. So, but Chris is experienced in doing it, and so she's agreed to do it for a while. We did recommend and review the certificate of appropriateness. We set our calendar dates. An important thing here, we agreed to adopt the standards of the Secretary of the Interior for all of our decisions. These standards were updated in 2017. We are going to take up the previous commission's review and revision of the application form that you've all been using, trying to make it more user-friendly, and hope to get it up online so that people can do it online. We're going to update and add information to our web presence. We are going to finish working on creating a welcome packet for new property owners in the historic district, explaining the role of the commission. We discussed with Mayor Beretta the $10 million DRI grant, and suggested that a member of the commission be a part of the planning. Since all exterior work done on any of those projects in the historic district would come before the new commission. And if preservation is involved at the very beginning of the conversation, all the applications should go very smoothly, and that's what our goal is. There's an announcement of a seminar. It's called Financial Incentives for Historic Preservation. It's going to be on Tuesday, October 30th, from 10 a.m. to noon. It's being presented by the Preservation League of New York. It's going to be at the museum, and we will record all of these workshops and seminars that we do, so they'll be online. Unfortunately, it's on a weekday. They could not change it for the presenter, so I think it'll be tough for a lot of people to come on a weekday like that. But if we record everything, then it'll be up for everybody. And interestingly enough about the sign, Jim Overheiser, one of our members, is looking into refurbishing and replacing the historic signs or markers in the village. Some of them are in pretty bad shape, and some of them have fallen actually down. And I just found out this afternoon from talking to someone at the Preservation League, we can pass this on to the hose company. There is money available for these plaques. There is grant funding available.
That's
And
what we're doing,
And
Yes.
so they might need to, they might be involved, and there's a real October 1st deadline that might be coming up for the application. I don't know whether it said that. We're gonna try to get in on that, but maybe that's one of the reasons that they brought that up for this meeting. So there might be a time thing on that for them. And we are celebrating our 20th anniversary of the Historic District in 2018. And we're gonna have a celebratory reception at and I'm gonna shift shift one cap to another. The Tioga Arts Council is gonna have our historic house tour again. We're gonna institute that in December. And so after that tour, there'll be a little kind of wassail party to celebrate the birthday of the historic district. So we're gonna kind of combine it all together. There'll be more on that later. And that's it, guys. So I'll give this to Rod. Yep, can you please pass? There you go, thank you.
Yeah, thank you for the report. All right, the next thing is EDU agreement with public restrooms. And this is, I talked to Nate about it today.
What category of EDU is that?
Well, it
building
sounds-
gonna be in?
It sounds like the EDU system as a whole might need to be relooked
So pardon me if I can.
Yeah.
So to your question, Ed, I think this is it seems like it came from the county. It's the county asking for a waiver of an EDU before we know what the building, what EDU would apply to it. So I think the process would be, Jerry gets consulted, hey, what's the EDU classification that fits for what they're looking to do? And then we can say, okay, here's how many EDUs it's gonna be. And then
Then we can consider this.
then we can think about it. I mean, and I said this to the mayor, I don't necessarily see a provision to waive EDU fees for any property. So we'd have to think about that.
Oh, I believe this is not for the EDUs for the 8 apartments in
No.
the building, it's just for the one
Just the
public
bathroom.
restroom.
But just because something's a public bathroom doesn't mean that EDU costs don't apply to it. And, if the idea is for it to be a public bathroom, then
We should make the public bathroom the law. You guys have bathrooms, you donate.
well, but that's a really good point, though. If you can get a
That's
waiver
exactly right.
of an EDU
That's
by
my
making it a
concern.
public bathroom, then everyone's gonna have to say that they're all public bathrooms and their EDUs are waived. And so if there's possibly an agreement in place between the village or the county and the property owner to literally make this a publicly accessible facility for use of the residents in the downtown area between the hours of whenever and whenever, and that they agree to maintain it and upkeep it and then have insurance and all that stuff, then possibly as compensation, the village would pay an amount equal to the EDU
But
cost.
that's gonna be enforceable on them as well as it is on us, so they better be careful what they ask for.
Exactly. And I mean, that's kind of the concern that initially when I saw this come through my email earlier today, that ran through my mind. So I think there's a lot of conversation that has to take place before saying simply, we'll waive the EDU costs.
Yeah, essentially they're looking for us to support the bathroom in the gateway building.
Yeah. Because we already declined to do so when we approved that project 2 years ago. Whatever it was.
Can I ask a question? What wasn't part of their grant, there's grant money involved in that building, and sometimes when they have a building like that that's private property, part of the grant is that there's a piece of the building that is like a public part of the building, and I'm thinking that's maybe where the restrooms were included, so that, he kind of had to do that in a way in order to abide by the terms of the grant, which I haven't seen, I'm only guessing. But I know of some doctor's offices in Binghamton that put great big restrooms in, and then periodically they would give a lecture on broken legs or something to the general public, and that was considered a public space. And so there's ways around that. And they got money for that. They got grant money towards their construction costs for doing that. So,
Yeah. More to figure out on this.
yeah.
Yeah, we need further.
I mean, he can't, I don't think he can say, I'm not gonna have the bathrooms available. I'm not so sure that, just so you know, when you're bargaining with him, I don't think that's gonna be one of his steps that he can do. But you'd have to look at the terms of the grant.
I'm looking for a store to be upgraded.
item is treasurer's report. Everybody get the treasurer's report? Probably Rusty. Kim sent it. Anybody have any comment on it?
That's all it is.
Thank you for coming. So we have a motion to approve the treasurer's report. It's the first month of 2019.
I'll make the motion.
Okay. 19.
So,
Fiscal year 19. Your second. Okay, so vote.
Yes.
stay.
Yes.
Yes. All right, the minutes of 9/4/2018. Everybody get those? Anybody see any problems with those?
Everybody should have.
It was online, right? I saw it online, but there's not a copy here. There's no copies here.
Do you need a copy? There you go. File this. I'll make the motion.
Okay. So vote.
Yes.
Yes.
You know, Ron, I didn't even look at the last vote. Did you vote yes?
I did.
No.
Not this,
Yes.
not this one, that the previous one. You voted yes, okay. I wasn't even, I was looking down there. Okay. Thank you.
All right, our next one is department head reports. I'll go first this time. I got a letter from Chief Kennedy of the police. He apologized for not being able to be here. He said that he wanted me to read a paragraph here. The SRO, the school resource officer, is doing well. The school seems to be very pleased. Our new police car has arrived. He's waiting for stickers for the side, so people know it's a police car. And then he'll put it into service. It says that should be this week. And thank you to the board members for the purchase. It's greatly needed. He ordered 2 new entry doors for the front of the police station. One for the police side and one for the court side. I guess they want locking.
It was also over there doing some painting, wasn't he?
Yeah.
It was, they were kind of rusted out. They don't even block it.
So yeah, so we got those ordered up, so they should be arriving soon. And from September 1st through the 16th, they had 158 calls, 26 arrests, 6 accidents, 21 traffic tickets, 7 warnings, and 3 parking tickets. We also had 2 burglaries, one of a business and one of a residence, and both suspects were arrested the same day as the crime and sent to the county jail.
One with the assistance of the mayor.
That was it. Jerry?
I don't have too much new and exciting going on, but plant's been running fine. Today we spent the day on Montrose Avenue doing some shoring up and covering over the exposed sewer main that was washed out there by all the rain, all the floods. Just really like them guys to turn off the rain for a while and get some sunshine, so we can get some other things done, so. Yeah. So, otherwise, that's about it. Our bid openings next Monday. Yes, you saw that?
Phase two.
Phase 2, yes.
Jeff?
I don't have anything else.
Danny?
All set.
You see you put in your report, but where are we at on the build EMS, is that?
We're waiting for, Susquehanna Ranch Region to grant our application to transfer CON to the corporation out of the hands of the WIO, so they have to have a public hearing, set a public hearing date, that give any other, emergency services a chance to write, saying that, they don't want CON transfer, but, seeing CON is written for the village of WIO, I don't see it being an issue. Shouldn't be an issue. So it's in their hands to schedule the meeting, it's their hands, their board of directors to review it. I think they do meetings every other month.
Where do they have their meetings?
I don't know, 'cause I don't sit on the
I mean, if
board.
there's gonna be a public hearing, we gotta know where to go.
It's the public hearing, it'd be for like the town of Owego Fire District could say, we don't want the fire department of the village, we incorporated to get a new CON for this area, we want to cover the area, we want to be at CON. And then this board would end up voting who gets a CON. When they do that, I'm sure they'll post it, I can let you know. I don't sit on the board.
And Chief, it's the regional EMS council that's holding the public hearing, I think. you said. Right, so they're not located in the village, for example, they're.
I think the hearing does have to be in the village though.
Yeah.
I don't, I'm speaking on this, he's
Yeah,
right with the
public to
council.
go to it, It has to be available.
Well, he's
Well,
right.
it doesn't necessarily have to be, where I'm going with this is that it's mainly meant to get the comments of the public or a pretty large area. It's not just the village of Owego that's affected by the certificate of need. But it might be scheduled here, I guess, then, that's good.
Correct. When they get around to scheduling, I'll let you know.
Next is trustee reports. Correct? Good?
Okay, well, there hasn't been a planning board meeting or a zoning board meeting in the last 2 weeks, but for the benefit of you folks, there's, on Tuesday, the 25th, at 7:30, there's a public hearing of the zoning board. And on, excuse me, that's planning board. Planning board. We are changing it the next month, that's why I'm confused.
We're gonna switch them.
So then on the next evening, on Wednesday, the 26th, is the zoning board at 6 o'clock, right here. Okay, and then in October, we've changed the dates around so that they're in a lot of logical order, have the zoning before the planning, okay? So in October, on the 22nd, there's a zoning board meeting at 6 p.m. And then Tuesday, the 23rd, there's the planning at 7:30 p.m. And you want to speak with the architects and whatever, they'll be at those meetings. They can answer your questions better than we can.
So the 25th of September and the 26th of September.
Right.
Yes.
And then again on the 22nd and the 23rd of October.
Right, right here.
And then right here.
The 25th is 7:30? So,
Yeah, well, see, the members of the board can set the time. So, it gets confusing after a while.
you said 26th.
It will be
25th, I got-
publicized. The zoning board meets at 6 p.m. and planning is at 7:30 p.m.
So the
On the
25th,
25th.
7:30,
On the 25th.
26th,
And to be
Sounds like
clear, neither of those meetings are public hearings on the south side rezoning project. They're on OG2 and the Applied Technologies applications. There may be a referral to one of them either of
No.
those meetings on the south side issue.
But all those meetings have, public comment, open public comment, just like here.
South side.
And the representatives will be there?
He is, so, he's there.
Okay. So the
Yes.
25th is at 7:30, the 26th is at 6 PM in September. I know you put.
Yep.
And then on 10/22, because we're reversing them, the zoning board will be at 6 PM, and the planning will be on the 23rd at 7:30 PM. Here, Antonio.
And those are all on the village calendar, which is on the website, too.
Uh-huh.
In case you forget.
So I guess I'll save these.
Yes. Yes.
Ronnie, you have to say that?
Okay.
Sorry, bring it back up.
That's all right. I did attend the OH PAC meeting just because I wanted to support them. I told Megan I won't be there anymore.
Okay.
Don't have to be there. Cemetery committee meeting was this last Monday, and the main thing that they were dealing with is 2 work days here in September and October. They're our last work days for this year. And this past Saturday was a huge success. I'm sure, I know Lynn is not all that excited about it, but we had people there from Child Opportunities, from the Rotary, and from the Interact group at the high school. They painted the gazebo, painted the picnic table and benches. And on Pool Avenue, on the one side, they trimmed all the different bushes. So there's piles of stuff there for Lynn to pick up. So it was, after all the